You know, at this point, I really should change the name of my channel to I Get to Review Shit I Love, because that's why I'm always biased and I'm rarely negative here. I keep covering bands I already love or finding new bands to obsess over, and on August 18th, 2026, at the Fonda Theater in Hollywood was another perfect example with a heavy show with the SWORD, Red Fang, and Spoonbenders. What's up, everybody? I'm Shane, here back at it again for KNAC with another show review. Now this time, this was at the Fonda, and the Fonda is one of those old school Hollywood theaters, complete with like a balcony, weird artwork covering the walls on the inside. It also has one of the coolest rooftop patios in LA for a venue, I think. The sound is always solid too. I really like this venue. But opening the night was Portland, Oregon's Spoonbenders. I wasn't familiar with them going into this show, but immediately they made an impression on me. They have a heavy psychedelic sound mixed in with like garage rock and like some punk energy. So they fit the bill perfectly. Had to do a bit of digging. Seems like they were a 4-piece and now they're a 3-piece. They did have one unfortunate mic problem during their set, but it was handled quickly and didn't derail the set at all. The singer, Katie, she just laughed it off and made a joke. They went right back at it. They had great energy. They knew how to handle that situation perfectly. I definitely want to spend more time checking them out, and hopefully you all do too, so definitely check out Spoonbenders. Next up, obviously, was Red Fang, another band coming out of Portland. They've been around since 2005. They've been delivering these massive riffs for over 20 years now. The lineup remains the same. Brian Giles on guitar and vocals, Aaron Beam on bass and vocals, David Sullivan on guitar, and John Sherman on drums. Now, they haven't toured in about 2 years, and they came back sounding like they did when I saw them last time. They absolutely ripped it. Tons of heavy riffs and that groove that, it got some pits going. No head was left unbanged. I will say that. No hiccups at all during their set. The set had a lot of older tracks, mostly from their second album, Murder in the Mountains, which is a great album, with tracks like Malverde, Into the Eye, Wires, and of course, Prehistoric Dog, Blood Like Cream and Arrows. Just a great mix of tracks. But it was mostly, again, focused on the second album, which is one of my favorites. I always dug Red Fang because their vocals, you had Brian having that harsher, raspy tone, and then Aaron has like that more melodic and harmonic side. I always dug that. I've seen them about 5 times now, and I just have to say my highlight of the set's always Prehistoric Dog. It's my favorite track to see them play live and listen to. That was one of the first songs that got me into the band. I used to listen to it back in high school. It also has one of the most badass and hilarious music videos ever made. So I'm glad to see they're back at it, kicking ass. Definitely catch them on tour when you can. They do not disappoint. And the last band, the one band we all came to see, and I'm glad they made a comeback too, is The Sword. They formed in Austin in 2003. Their lineup hasn't changed much. It still features JD on vocals and guitar. You had Kyle Shutt on lead guitar, Brian Ritchie on bass, and with Santiago Vela III on drums being the only non-original member. I've been listening to these guys again for like close to 20 years also. My first exposure to them was in Guitar Hero as a kid. So I'm incredibly happy to see them come back, and they still know how to rip it up. Those Texas boys, let me tell you, they're still going strong. They kick things into high gear with some classic tracks off their first album, Age of Winters, then went into like Maiden, Mother and Crone, immediately filling the Fonda with those classic riffs that everybody just recognizes instantly. The set moved between favorites like Freya, Tres Bruas, and some later albums, but again, they mostly played a lot of stuff off their first album, Age of Winters, which rules. The whole night, it was cool with both bands playing a lot of their classic stuff, which I really dug. I honestly forgot how heavy The Sword is. until I hear those riffs live. There's plenty of doom, classic heavy metal in their sound, but as a buddy at the show pointed out, they got that unmistakable Texas boogie underneath it all. I feel like that's a really good way to describe their tone, especially Brian. His bass tone, it was massive bass tone. He was creating some really cool kind of effects throughout the set. However, for me, I was taking pictures. Unfortunately, the first 3 songs had a lot of red lighting, making photography difficult. Same thing for Red Fang. Thankfully, after those songs, went back to normal lighting. But that's right when we had to get out of the photo pit, so of course. But I think I got some good shots, as you could see, and some good footage. The band ended the night with a cover of ZZ Top's Cheap Sunglasses. The Sword coming from Texas and Frank Beard having passed away the previous day, it felt like a fitting tribute rather than just another cover song. So overall, it was such a killer heavy show. 3 bands, endless heavy riffs. It's difficult for me to be negative when I keep getting to review shit I love. So thanks for checking this out. Go look at all the photos, and for all things heavy, stay up to date right here on KNAC.com. Cheers, everyone.